Well, hi, everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and it is Soul Sunday. And I'm hoping that you've had a wonderful weekend and that you are ready for the coming week. In case you're new to the broadcast, the Soul Sunday broadcast, we actually lower the tempo completely. And the reason for that is because we want everybody in a really nice space, ready for the start of the new week. And so if you happen to be listening to this or watching it, and you're about to drive a car, I would recommend not to do that because it may just lower your vibration too much. And I would hate for that to happen. So please don't listen to this or watch it while you're driving or about to drive. However, if you are about to go to sleep, this is the perfect thing to listen to because the tone of it will help you go to sleep. And by the way, what we do is we actually bundle all the Soul Sundays broadcasts together so you can turn on one and then just, quietly let yourself drift off to sleep. Hey there, Jody and Kerry. Good to see you. I just want to tell you, for those of you who might not know, I've been fasting for, I think it's 10 days now. The good news is I have lost 2 inches off my stomach. And I've also lost 2 pounds. However, I cannot tell you how difficult it is at the moment, right now. I have just been preparing the Sunday dinner, and you have no idea how much you automatically lick your fingers, or, if you're cutting up something, you automatically put a piece of it in your mouth to eat. I cannot tell you how many times I had to stop myself just now. And then also, in terms of absolute agony, I am just finished baking fresh bread. And I've still got a couple of hours to go of my fast. So, hi, Marie. And so you can imagine this is really self-inflicted torture at the moment. It's been a difficult week for the world in some ways. So I thought I would do a broadcast on harmony. Not that I think that we can change anything other than ourselves and the people around us, but in the hope that it'll help a little bit in the world. It was said that where there is righteousness in the heart, there is beauty in the character. And where there is beauty in the character, there is harmony in the home. And where there is harmony in the home, there is order in the nation. And where there's order in the nation, there is peace in the world. I don't know about you, but I cannot think of anything I pray for more right now than world peace, because I get a horrible feeling that we're getting a little out of control. Elegance is usually confused with superficiality, fashion, lack of depth. This is a serious mistake. Human beings need to have elegance in their actions, in their posture, because the world is synonymous with good taste, amiability, equilibrium, and harmony. It's funny, I went out to dinner with Benji last night, and I'll do a vlog about that, but I took him out to dinner for a change, and I took him to that restaurant that you sometimes see me I go to with Marnie. And, because I love the elegance of it, right? I love the fact they still have white tablecloths and napkins. And I love the fact that when I walk in, they know who I am. And so don't forget to have a little bit of elegance in your life now and then. Okay? And I don't know what elegance is for you, but think about it. What makes elegance for you? Is it that you actually do sit down for a meal at a table and and turn off the phones I don't know what it is. To me, it's like it is a very important thing to be elegant every now and then. The highest education is that which does not merely give us information, but makes our life in harmony with all existence. Stop fighting the world, people. Just take one step at a time and be at peace. To survive in peace and harmony, united and strong, we must have one people, one nation, one flag. Diane von Furstenberg said there's design and then there's art. Good design is total harmony. There is no better designer than nature. If you look at a branch or a leaf, it's perfect. It's all function. Art is different. It's about emotion. It's about suffering and beauty, but mostly suffering. The more in harmony you are with yourself, the more joyful you are, and the more faithful you are. Faith is not to disconnect you from reality. Faith connects you to reality. How many of you feel that? That your faith connects you to reality. It is a moment of bliss, if you like, away from the morals and shenanigans of everyday life. And Paul Cézanne said, art is a harmony parallel with nature. Lewis Carroll said that while the laughter of joy is in full harmony with our deepest life, our laughter of amusement should be kept apart from it. The danger is too great, thus learning to look at solemn things in the spirit of mockery, and to seek them in opportunities for exercising wit. We enjoy your work there, Kerry. Thank you for popping in. Mahatma Gandhi said, always aim at complete harmony. Harmony of thought and word and deed. Always aim at purifying your thoughts, and everything will be well. I wonder how many of you know that you could really do with a vacuum cleaner in your mind sometime and purify some of those thoughts. It sort of makes me think about doing the fasting. The advantages of fasting is once the body has used up the food that you put in hours and hours and hours ago, it starts eating up the fat. And to me, it's like it's a vacuum cleaner, and it's, thank you, I'd take the fat out of you right now. And I've got an awful lot of fat to go. But, it's like, sometimes I think I need it in my mind. I don't know about you. I'm too quick to think negatively sometimes, and although I pride myself on being a pretty positive person, but even so, I still fall into that trap. And I'm sure that, a lot of you will agree with me. It's too easy to judge rather than just let it be and stay at peace and in harmony. Sorry, my screen just decided I must have hit it badly. Just hold on one second. And Mahatma Gandhi also said, happiness is when you think, when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. And it is really interesting. I am going through a process at the moment of selling my house. And it is really interesting how many small things interrupt my harmony. And I keep reminding myself, just let it be. Stay in harmony, stay at peace with all of this. It's unfolding exactly as it's meant to, and you will be just fine. Narendra Modi, I think he's the president of India, isn't he? Our constitution is a ray of hope. H for harmony, O for opportunity, P for the people's participation, and E for equality. Isn't that nice? Smart habitation is an integrated area of villages and cities working in harmony, and where the rural and urban divide has been reduced to a thin line. And Cyril Connolly said, the secret of success is to be in harmony with existence and to be always calm, to let each wave of life wash us a little farther up the shore. I just find that such a great visual. And Ruth Barnett said, the ground we walk on, the plants and creatures, the clouds above constantly dissolving into new formations, each gift of nature, possessing in its own radiant energy, bound together by cosmic harmony. Venus Williams, tennis player, said, the principle of design, the harmony, rhythm, the balance are all the same with interior and fashion design. And the Peace Pilgrim said, the simplification of life is one of the steps to inner peace. A persistent simplification will create an inner and outer well-being that places harmony in one's life. And that, it is true. I'm just thinking about the work I have done to downsize and clean up the clutter in my house. And I don't know if this will make sense to anybody but me, but for the longest time in my life, people would come to visit and I'd say, oh, excuse the mess. I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have to do that anymore. Because you see, I've simplified. There isn't any mess anymore. Well, in my kitchen right now, but you won't count that. But you know what I mean? It's like when you simplify your life, when you, Jody, I was thinking about that you are beginning to put a lot of your things into cubies and things. When you do that, it's amazing how much more space you have. And you sort of go, wow, why didn't I think to do this a long time ago? And, I've been saying over the last few weeks, the things I use on a very regular basis, and I normally use them in my bedroom because that is where I keep my computer. I have little shoe boxes, not little, but regular shoe boxes, plastic ones, and I have different categories of things that in them, accounts in one, and my diabetes testing stuff in another, and so forth, and they all slide under my bed. And now I can just literally lean down because I know where they are under my bed. And, such a simple thing. Why didn't I think to do that years and years ago? Because the shoebox fits beautifully just under my bed. Renee Emery said, the best success for me is not one trophy. It's not harmony. It's when players improve and grow. And George Washington said, observe good faith and justice towards all nations. Cultivate peace and harmony with all. And Marcus Aurelius said, he who lives in harmony with himself lives in harmony with the universe. I do believe that that is one of the greatest challenges for a lot of people. How do I live in harmony with myself? How do I stop always beating up on myself? How do I stop criticizing myself? How do I stop expecting too much of myself? And when do I just slow down and learn to be a human being rather than a human doing? That I've always said that it took me a long time to become a human being. For most of my life, I was a human doing. Very different way of life. Maria Montessori said, the purpose of life is to obey the hidden command, which ensures harmony among all and creatures, an even better world. We are not created only to enjoy the world. We are created in order to evolve the cosmos. Have you done your part to create harmony in the world this week? If not, it's another week coming up. Aldo Leopold said, harmony with land is like harmony with a friend. You cannot cherish his right hand and chop off his left. And, I wonder how many of you feel at harmony with the land, be it your planter boxes or your tub of flowers or whatever. But I'm hoping that you all have some harmony with the land in your life. I want to tell you, I make time every day to go and look at my flowers and talk to them. And I normally take a pair of scissors with me so I can deadhead the dead flowers, and so that the new flowers can grow and be strong. But it's like anything else. You have to make time for it. We don't have time for it. We need to make time for it because it's so good for us. And I find when I do that, I'm in a different place. I really do feel at peace. Only by learning to live in harmony with your contradictions, can you keep it all afloat. I amuse myself a lot with my contradictions. How about you? I think I'm at peace, and then or I think I'm calm, and I notice that my foot is shaking, or and I go, wow, look at that contradiction. Or how about I needed to hurry up to slow down to do the broadcast? Think about that. Because I was a little late today, it required that I hurry up. Excuse me, so I could slow down. An amazing feeling. Louise Hay said, no person, no place, and no thing has any power over us, for we are the only thinkers in our mind. And we create peace and harmony and balance in our minds. And when we do so, we will find it in our lives. So think about that. No person, no place, and no thing has any power over us. Concentrate on that this week. When the next person phones you and it's a prank call or one of those prank calls, can you keep control or do you lose it? How about when somebody wakes you up from deep sleep and it's a wrong number? I try to remember to say, thank you for calling. It was nice talking to you. Because they didn't mean to hit a wrong number, I'm pretty sure of that. But it does take a little bit of effort. Or that again, you're deep asleep and there's a doorbell goes and you rush downstairs and to find out that they've rung the wrong doorbell. It takes great control to stay calm. Confucius said, how to play music may be known. At the commencement of a piece, all the parts should sound together. As it proceeds, they should be in harmony, with severally distinct and flowing without break, and thus on to the conclusion. That wonderful flow of an orchestra where, or sometimes it's the reverse of that, right? Where it starts off with just one instrument and then the others join in until you have this total harmony going on. I don't know about you, but there's something quite amazing about that. I'm listening at the moment to an advertisement that's on television. I listen to that. I'm listening to it. It's for the Mayo Clinic, and it is a very simple tune played on a guitar with a mnemonic in it, the harmonic thing. And it's just so simple, but the sound is so haunting. And I don't know who picked that piece of music to go with that advertisement for the Mayo Clinic, but boy, you can almost feel the music. It is so good and so simple. This happiness consisted of nothing else but the harmony of a few things around me, with my own existence, a feeling of contentment and well-being that needed no changes and no intensification. How many of you feel that happiness? I am actually grateful for what I have. The few things that I have, I am so grateful for, right? And not constantly be wanting more, different, better. Just what I have is wonderful. And I am so thankful to have it. Where there is righteousness in the heart, we've said that one already. Harmony makes small things grow, and the lack of it makes great things decay. Stay in harmony whenever you can. And Aldo Leopold said, a conservation is a state of harmony between men and land. And I think that while we're not perfect, I think we are doing, for the most part, a much better job of land conservation, although maybe not so much around the world, but I'm definitely seeing it a lot more in my sphere of influence. It is a fabulous thing to give life to fabric, to make something move well, and the harmony of color. Da Vinci said that. Can you imagine being a fashion designer? That would make so much sense to be able to say that it is a fabulous thing to give life to fabric and to make something move well and the harmony of color. When you think of fashion, is there a dress that comes to mind? Can you see a dress or an outfit that you say, well, that was harmony? I don't know why, but for me, it was a dress that Julia Roberts wore to one Academy Awards, or black and white one. And there was just something about that dress. It was so simple, just black and white. But boy, everything about it was in harmony with her. I thought it really, there was that dramatic part to it. Then she has that drama. There was the elegance of it, and I believe she has that elegance. And then there was the flow, and there was almost, in some ways, a joyfulness about it. And to me, that depicted her as well. So I thought it was the perfect fashion for her to wear. And she wore it well that year. You know what I mean? She really wore it well with great elegance. Tim Gunn said, I have my mantra about silhouette, proportion, and fit. I believe when they are in harmony and balance, you will look great in anything. And you've met people that really can wear the most simple things and look wonderful. And there are other people that can wear the most expensive things and really not look elegant at all. And my mom, bless her heart, always said, it's not what you wear, it's how you wear it. It's not what you wear, it is how you wear it. And for that I have to thank her, because I do believe that in that expression alone, she taught me elegance. And that was an elegance that not only was about the clothes that I wore, but it was like she taught me that elegance about when how to put things on a plate when you're cooking. That if it looks good, it tastes better. Sai Baba said that the life ahead can only be glorious if you learn to live in total harmony with the Lord. And for those of you who have faith, any faith, you will know that you are at your best when you are in harmony with whatever it is you believe. And Thomas Aquinas said, how is it they live in such harmony in the billions of stars, when most men can barely go a minute without declaring war in their minds about someone they know? And the Aga Khan said, the search for justice and security, the struggle for equality of opportunity, the quest for tolerance and harmony, the pursuit of human dignity. These are moral imperatives which we must work towards and think about on a daily basis. We came quite close to war this week. I'm glad that we turned away from it. Terrace Stiles said, time moves along at its own pace for long as we on this planet, and then some. For as long as we are on this planet, and then some. So why try and beat it anymore? Maybe it's better to meet time head on and chill ourselves. Chill ourselves out so we can exist in harmony with the passing days. It is interesting We here in the Northern Hemisphere, we've just moved into summer. And to me, that is always a sad time because that means we're that much closer to winter. I don't do winter well. And it's like, that turning point, we're into summer already. Which must mean we're only, 150 days away from Christmas or something. It's really scary, isn't it? When you start thinking like that. That does not create harmony in my mind. Let me move on. Sadie Jones said remove all the traffic lights, yellow lines, one-way systems and road markings, and let blissful anarchy prevail. I imagine it would produce a kind of harmony. What a wonderful visual. I've been in I've been in cities where I think they just painted the roads for fun. I don't think they painted them so anybody would obey any of the instructions on it. Marseille rings a bell. Driving in Marseille is not good for harmony or peace of mind. Or it wasn't when I was there. It was just like, I can always remember this one roundabout. And I thought, I wonder if I will survive this. And I've been in a couple of Arab countries where, you're going, really? This is how you drive? How do you survive this? And maybe some of you have, seen, videos of India or other Asian countries where you're going, how do they actually stay alive with everybody driving like that? And then in between, there are all the, little moped type bikes, trying to make it through as well. And you go, wow, it's amazing they still have people. Lech Walesa of Poland said, the sole and basic source of our strength is the solidarity of the workers, peasants, and intelligentsia, the solidarity of the nation, the solidarity of the people who seek to live in dignity, truth, and harmony with their conscience. I think that is so true. It was so true of Poland in those days, but I think it's becoming more and more evident in our everyday politics as well that, somehow the ruling part has come so far from those everyday voters, and we need to be more aware of what's going on. Someone said that it's the harmony of the diverse parts, their symmetry, their happy balance in the world that is to introduce order, and all that gives unity, that permits us to see clearly and to comprehend at once both the ensemble and the details. And John Fogerty said, but I think beautiful is simple and elegant, like a ballad with a simple harmony. And someone said, I am fascinated by what is beautiful, strong, healthy, what is living. I seek harmony. Tony Savello said, I think that beauty can injure you to death. It can cause an injury that can never be cured, or it can so traumatize you, your life changes direction. The beauty of harmony of nature that is forever lost, or the daily rite that you perform, or diving into the sea for a swim, those experiences are going to mark you. You understand, it's the disruption of the beauty. I wonder if any of you have ever done that, if ever you've sort of seen the beautiful lake, absolutely still and tranquil, and then you dive into it and you disturb the tranquility. Ralph Waldo Emerson said Jesus Christ belonged to the true race of prophets. He saw with an open eye the mysteries of the soul. Drawn by its severe harmony, ravished with its beauty, he lived in it and had his being there. Alone in all history, he estimated the greatness of man. William Hazlitt said, grace has been defined as the outward expression of the inward harmony of the soul. Maya Angelou said, in the long meter hymn, a singer, they call it, lays out a line. And then the whole church joins in repeating that line. So they form a wall of harmony so tight you can wedge a pin. You cannot wedge a pin between it. It's just like, one person feeds you the line that you're about to sing, and then everybody sings it so beautifully because it was given to you in the right way. Henry David Thoreau said that truth is always in harmony with herself, and it is not concerned chiefly to reveal the justice that it may consist with wrongdoing. But what is happiness except the simple harmony between man and the life that he leads? How many of you feel in better harmony with your life than you did a year ago? Right? How many of you can see that by sometimes slowing down your life, you speed it up? I take the example of the fasting. What I have said to people is what surprises me is that fasting is so much easier than counting calories or carbs, because you don't have to concentrate on lots of little things. You just concentrate on, I don't eat until the time is up. And I can drink, the right drinks, but I don't eat until then. And it's really funny because you can count down the hours and go, I've got another 2 hours to go. But I am really amazed that I don't spend my life with hunger pangs. Maybe it's the amount of food I eat when I'm allowed to. But I really don't. I don't feel, occasionally I'll get a slight feeling of it, but I just go and get another hot tea of some sort, and it distracts your mind. And the next thing you know, another couple of hours have gone by. And so it is in its simplicity that I think it is so complex. It is in the very simplicity of what time is it? And literally to be able to go, I just need to get the right thing going here. I've got another 2 hours, 4 minutes and 56 seconds. If I want to. And of course, everything is a choice, so I can choose not to wait that long. But I also know that if I choose that, then I pay a different price. Gary Zukav said, the requirements of our evolution have changed. Survival is no longer sufficient. Our evolution now requires us to develop spiritually, to become emotionally aware and make responsible choices. It requires us to align ourselves with the values of the soul: harmony, cooperation, sharing, and a reverence for life. And Alan Watts said, so what is discord at one level of your being is harmony at another level. So true. Alexander Pope said the way to creative works through change and transformation, so that each thing receives its true nature and destiny and comes into permanent accord with the great harmony. This is what furthers and what perseveres. Harmony is pure love, for love is complete agreement. James McBride said people don't realize you're blowing over changes, time changes, harmony, different keys. I mark a point in my solo where it's got a peak, and at point D, I go to A, B, C, D, and then I'm home. You know, it's amazing. It's like when I was a professional speaker, I carried clipped into my jacket of my suit a countdown timer, and it was set to go off 6 minutes before I was due to stop speaking. And it didn't make a noise, it vibrated. So the only person that would feel it would be me. And you know, I had it set at 6 minutes because I have a pretty good sense of time when I'm speaking. And so I knew roughly where I was, but the 6 minute warning would say to me, Sal, it's time to wrap this all up into one big package and then tie the bow and hand it back to the audience. Because during a speech, you know, you will go into various places and they're all parts of the big package. And it's so wonderful to be able at the end to pick up all the little bits that you've been talking about and put them all into a package, put the lid on it, put the bow on it and go, there you go. And what was amazing about it was the 6 minute warning. I knew exactly how to use that time. And it amazed me how many times the organizers would come to me and say, I cannot believe you stopped exactly on time. And that would give me the incredible ability to be able to look at them and say, yes, and that's why you buy a professional. You know, and it's true, I think. How about the hidden harmony is better than the obvious? If you have to talk about the harmony, I guess, in things, then certain things, you know, then you don't have the harmony. Because a human being is endowed with empathy, he violates the natural order if he does not reach out to those who need care. Responding to this empathy, one is in harmony with the other of things, with Dharma. Otherwise, one is not. You know, for some reason that brings to mind the terrible conditions of which I heard down at the border, the US border at the moment, you know, where children are really not being properly cared for. And where children who don't know how to look after children are being asked to become caregivers to children that they don't even know. And, you know, this is like insane. And so, and I heard somebody say that a toothbrush And a bar of soap is not security or cleanliness. To actually deny people, and what some teenagers said that they had not been near a shower in over 10 days. Can you imagine a teenager not near a shower in 10 days? Can you imagine what your house would smell like? Martin Zweig said that big money is made in the stock market by being on the right side of major moves. The idea is to get in harmony with the market. It's suicidal to fight trends. They have higher probability of continuing than not. Logic and harmony must come from the heart. Dalai Lama said that. Harmony very much based on trust. As soon as you use force creates fear. And fear and trust cannot go together. And that makes me wonder, are we trying to force our lives? Are we trying to force things to happen? Or are we patient and allowing that time? Is it true that even the smallest daily chore can be humanized with the harmony of culture? How many of you find cooking, for example, a moment of harmony, that you actually sort of get into a Zen state with it, where the literally the chopping up of the vegetables and everything else is like a poetic or almost musical moment, and that you can not rush it and just enjoy the process of taking these raw ingredients and creating something truly tasty, which is what I'm smelling right now. And for those of you who follow my Sunday meals, today is spaghetti casserole with mushrooms and bacon, peppers, like a bolognese sauce, crushed tomatoes, cheese, and even cream cheese should be wonderful. And if I've got all the ingredients in harmony, it's going to taste wonderful. Even if I don't, it probably will. Because it's going to be so good to eat right now. Beauty, the adjustment of all parts proportionately, so that one cannot add or subtract or change without impairing the harmony of the whole. That is beauty. Percy Shelley said that there is harmony in autumn and the luster in its sky, which through summer is not heard or seen, as if it could not be, as if it had not been. How many of you enjoy the noises and feelings of autumn, the crinkling of the leaves, this little chill to the air, the subtleties of autumn? I must admit that even though I lived so many years in Africa, I still love some of the feelings and sounds of autumn. Jim Mattis said, "In this age, I don't care how tactically or operationally brilliant you are. You cannot create harmony, even vicious harmony, on the battlefield based on trust across service lines, across coalition and national lines, and across civilian military lines. You need to go home because your leadership is obsolete." It's pretty good. If you cannot create harmony, go home. Mercedes McCambridge said, "My only true harmony lies within my soul. Wherever that is, I know somewhere, somehow, I am in tune with the universe." And Sophia Loren said, "I think in our life, I think that when you're an actor, when you are a producer, you have to be very discreet about your personal life. And you have to be closed in harmony and in affection and in everything." Charlie Parker said, "Music is basically melody, harmony, and rhythm. But people can do so much more with music than that. It can be very descriptive in all kinds of ways, in all walks of life." We should work for a simple, good, under-decorated thing, but things that are in harmony with the human being and organically suited to the little man in the street. Hi, Nada. How nice to see you. For those of you who are watching on the replay, Nada's saying, "Sorry, I've been busy lately, still alive and still listening to the replay. Lots of love, sending prayers to you and asking for prayers as well." Thank you. We will make a note of that, and I will put some prayers up for you, Nada. Is there anything that we can tell the people that you would like the prayers for, or is it just a general? I'm happy to put up a general call for prayers. It's always a pleasure to see you here. We could live in the present day without a Plato, but a doubled number of Newtons is required to discover the secrets of nature and to bring life into harmony within the laws of nature. Okay, Nada, I will make sure we will ask for prayers for everything. And please, for a second, just take a hug and thank you for letting us know that you need the prayers. You know, when you reach out, it is possible to give. And so smile a little and know that lots of good thoughts and prayers are coming your way. Not only from myself, but from Jody and from everybody else that will hear this. And thank you for keeping us updated. Because if we don't know that you need the hugs and the care, then we certainly can't give it. Whereas religious prayers sing of peace and harmony, religion has divided human beings through an atrocious history of enmity and bloodshed. Yet, behind the veil of superficiality and hypocrisy, I always believed in the inherent beauty of God that lies at the essence of all true spiritual paths. Yes, I often think that it's amazing what mankind did with religion. And I'm pretty sure that it was not what was intended. Because I do believe that we were meant to be kind and we were not a hateful being. Karita Kemp said that a painting is a symbol for the universe. Inside, each piece relates to another. Each piece is the only answerable to the rest of the little world. So probably the total universe. There is a kind of total harmony, but we get only a little taste of it. I must admit that when I start doing art, I find that what I intend is very rarely what happens to my paintings. You know, it's amazing. You look at the little one above me here. When I actually painted that, I had no idea that it was going to end up with such intricate little cells in it. If you see it close up, it is amazing the different depths of cells that are there. And it was just like, wow, I don't know how I did it, but it's wonderful. And on the same day, there was the other one. Yes, the eagle is another one. I have a big painting where I actually had tried to draw a flowing form, and that's what I did. And what happened was that it was, it turned out really nicely. And then when I turned it over, I turned it around to do something to it, I realized that when you looked at it from the other way, it was a huge eagle, just soaring above and looking down. And you're going, I could not have done that if I had tried. But it was totally in harmony with the paint. The paint, I often say that there is what I do, and then there's what the drying gods do with what I do. And sometimes the drying gods really don't like what I've done. And they tell me big time. And sometimes, what I start with, when the drying gods have finished, it's totally different. And I go, okay, as long as they're happy. Music creates order out of chaos. For rhythm imposes unanimity on the divergent. Melody imposes continuity upon the disjointed. And harmony imposes compatibility upon the incongruous. How many of you would agree, if you've ever heard an orchestra where they are not in harmony, and, if you've ever been to a children's orchestra when they're just learning a new piece, that there's nothing harmonious about that at all. And yet give them enough time, and suddenly what you're listening to is amazing. And especially if you were there when they started off. To Confucius, harmony was consensuous, not conformity. It required loyal opposition. How many of you can debate and not hate one another? That it just is another opinion. It's really weird. My top video that I've done remains one that I did about windshield wipers squeaking. And it's it is the top video in that group of how to fix windshield wipers that are squeaky. And I just got somebody who wrote to me this week and said, you don't deserve to be here. And I'm going, I guess I missed on his cornflakes somehow, and I don't know why. Was it that I was a female? Was it that he didn't like what answer that I came up with? Was it that I had more views than he did? I don't know what it was. But the funny thing was that here he came, with this, you don't belong here. And I have learned over the years that this best reply is a very simple one, which is, and I just literally wrote back and said, thank you so much for your opinion. I would die for his right to have an opinion, wouldn't you? You see, that's what we believe, that everybody has the right to an opinion. Doesn't have to agree with us. And that's why life is so interesting when we can, do that. The desire for freedom and equilibrium, which is harmony, is inherent in man due to the universal in him. It is a natural thing for us to want harmony. And I wonder what it is that you would change in your life this week to create more harmony. Would you listen more and argue less? Would you stop correcting people because it's not really necessary for you to be right or for them to know that they are wrong? Cat Stevens, the musician, said, there is a social need within our lives as human beings to have harmony. George William Russell said, when steam first began to pump and wheels go around at so many revolutions per minute, what are called business habits were intended to make the life of man run in harmony with the steam engine. At his moment, rival to the train in this moment rival the train in punctuality. How many of you know that you can be in perfect harmony in this show, not in time for the train? You have to make sure that you're on the same timetable as the train, otherwise you miss it. Tarkovsky said, the artist never works under ideal conditions. If they existed, his work wouldn't exist. For the artist doesn't live in a vacuum. Some sort of pressure must exist. The artist exists because of the world is not perfect. Art would be useless if the world were perfect, as man wouldn't look for harmony, but would simply live in it. It's beautiful. That sometimes, I look at my art studio, and there's nothing harmonious around my studio, and yet it always amazes me that what I'm actually painting is in harmony so often. And you're going, how do I get such harmony out of such chaos? I don't know, but it is fun to do it. James Faust said that just as the Earth is a planet in its own right, so each of us is an individual in our own sphere of habitation. We're individuals, but we live in families and communities where order provides a system of harmony that hinges on obedience to principle. And Christopher Alexander said, I believe that all centers that appear in space, whether they originate in biology, in the physical forces, in the pure geometry, in color, are alike simply in that they all animate space. It is in this animated space that has its functional effect on the world, that determines the way things work, that governs the presence of harmony and of life. In 19... Don't you hate it when I do that by accident? We'll have to wait on that one. It disappeared. See if I can get back there. I just breathed and it changed pages. I'm not going to be able to get back to where I was, I don't think. But that is fine. He who lives in harmony with himself is in harmony with the universe. I love that. I'm still trying to find out where I was before It's amazing how far down here I was. There we go. We're getting close, people. In 1988, the Summer Olympics were held in Korea, which was a divided country. It was an opportunity for the East and the West to come together in harmony and also take a significant role in the ending of the Cold War era. It was an amazing moment in time, and one where I think a lot of us held our breath as to whether it would succeed. William O. Douglas said the association promotes a way of life, not causes, a harmony in living, not political faiths, a bilateral loyalty, not commercial or social projects. Yet it is in an association for the noble, as noble, that is difficult. Yet it is an association for as noble a purpose as any involved in any prior decisions. Ooh, that was a lot of words. Najib Razak said that my priority is to ensure peace and harmony in Malaysia. It is upmost in my mind. Edgar Winter said, when I did Frankenstein, the record company said, now you can do Dracula and Wolfman, and we'll call the whole thing Monster Rock. And I said, no, that's not going to happen. I'm not going to do that. I kind of enjoy defying categorization. I love music in and of itself. I love beauty, the beauty of harmony and rhythm. Henry Dean Stanton said that I sang barbershop harmony. How many of you love barbershop harmony? You know, where you have four people and they all are at different tones. And sort of got into performing. And it just came naturally. When I was in college after the war, I did a play, Pygmalion, by George Bernard Shaw. And from then on, I knew this is what I wanted to do. And somebody said, I guess I've never been introduced properly to Pink Floyd. I know they're great, don't get me wrong. Excellent, excellent musicians, great band, awesome harmony, great songwriters. I just don't know anything besides, I guess, the popular songs on the radio. And I think that's interesting because I can remember a time when people said that the Beatles songs were nothing but noise. And you listen to the Beatles songs today and they really are so tame, you know. But they were hard rock in those days in so many ways. And then I was watching a very young Rolling Stones group. You know, the Rolling Stones, when they first came to America, I was watching them last night, and they were so young. And you could see Mick Jagger had not quite perfected all those moves that he has, but you could see that there was part of him that wanted to let loose, and it was amazing because I sat there and I smiled looking at him and said, don't worry, Mick, you're going to learn to let that go, and it's going to be awesome when you do. And it was just watching him in that moment and watching the Stones and going, and, you know, in that interview, he said that he hoped they would survive. You know, somebody said, where do you expect to be 5 years from now? And he said, well, you know, I'm hoping we'll still be playing music a year from now. You know, he did not expect them to stay in the limelight for that long, and, you know, a lifetime. And I think that is beautiful. You know, whatever people thought of their music at the time, it stood the test of time, and it still does. And I just think, you know, when I look at some of that music, it is amazing how simple it was by comparison. You know, and I was watching the early Beatles songs, and I'm going, yeah, their songs were so simple, but the harmonies and the way that they sang them was what really got us. Nomandi Corday said, each and every one of us is amazing in our own way. We have 5 beautiful women who exude talent, and I am blessed and honored to be one of these women. For me, the bottom line is all about respect and love, and I have both for Fifth Harmony. And Bob Beckel said, the media role in highlighting racial incidents only serves to exacerbate tension. We rarely write about racial harmony. Oh, isn't that true? Let me repeat that. Listen to this. The media role in highlighting racial incidents only serves to exacerbate the tension. We rarely write about racial harmony. How many of you have actually watched newscasts that where they actually end in good news rather than all the bad news, and you're going, wow, why don't we have more of that? Why do we concentrate on the salacious? Why do we concentrate on the nasty stuff? Why don't we have more about the good things people do for one another? You know, the Home Depot that the local boy, you know, is unable to walk. So the local Home Depot, out of all the bits in Home Depot, built him a wheelchair. Why don't we have more of those stories? Right? Don't you think that would teach us and our children a lot better than some of the other things we're watching? And how about this world belongs to all of us? And all sexes should be able to live in respect and harmony. And do you know that moderation doesn't mean that you're a wimp? Far from it. It means that you have chosen a path because you believe that is the only way for global harmony and peace. The next time you are in a battle with somebody, choose a path that will lead to harmony and peace. Don't keep fighting. Try and find the middle ground that you can both agree on. Jane Goodall, who spent so much time in Africa working with the chimpanzees and gorillas, she said, chimpanzees, gorillas, and orangutans have been living for hundreds of thousands of years in their forest, living fantastic lives, never overpopulating, never destroying the forest. I would say that they have been, in a way, more successful than us as being in harmony with the environment. True. Happiness is not a matter of intensity, but of balance, order, rhythm, and harmony. Happiness exists on this earth, and it is won through prudent exercise of reason, knowledge of the harmony of the universe, and constant practice of generosity. And William Wordsworth wrote, with an eye made quiet by the power of harmony and the deep power of joy, we see into the life of things. And it was said that, like anything metaphysical, the harmony between thought and reality is found in the grammar of the language. Freddie Mercury said, back in the old days, We were often compared to Led Zeppelin. If we did something with harmony, it was the Beach Boys. Something heavy, it was Led Zeppelin. We should purify our innate well of contentment. What a wonderful expression. And then external things will be in harmony with us. Do you understand that? That if we are in harmony with ourselves, then automatically we become in harmony with the world. Nelson Mandela said, "I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunities. It is an ideal which I hope to live for and to achieve. But if needs be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die." You know, I was fortunate enough in a way to live in South Africa at the time when it was transitioning. So when I first arrived there, the apartheid system was very, very strong. And yet then I saw, the new government come in and start to change things. And it caused dissent. The old time school people didn't want to change. But, the more modern people knew that change had to happen and needed to happen, and it was right for it to happen. And it was just incredible to be there for at least the beginnings of that change. And, I look back on it now and go, I lived a piece of history, and for which I am very, very grateful. Food is one part of the experience. It has to be somewhere between 50 and 60% of the dining experience. But the rest counts as well. The mood, the atmosphere, the music, the feeling, the design, the harmony between what you have on the plate and what surrounds the plate. And it is so true, because when I was at dinner last night, in all this elegance, I also, even the food on the plate was so elegant. It made you slow down. You didn't sort of rush in and gobble it up. You actually ate it with incredible peace, because it was so beautiful. You almost didn't want to touch the plate because it was so pretty, regardless. And there was sort of the food itself. I often say, when I have dinner with Benji, when I often say to him, it's not about the food. I so value the precious gift of your time. And I must admit that last night, the food was as joyous to me as the company. So it was all in harmony. And it made the evening that much more enjoyable. Great company and unbelievably good food. So I'm going to encourage you to look for more harmony in your week. See the beauty in everything, if you can. Understand that everybody you come into contact with is actually not trying to mess with your day. Most people are just trying to do their job by the rules they've been given, even though they can really mess up your realities. And I do believe that if we can just stay at peace, we will be happier. If we live in harmony with what is actually going on around us, instead of demanding that it goes our way, we will be happier. If that makes sense. And I definitely am feeling that peace more probably more this year than I have felt in a lifetime. Because I think at some level I understand it better than I did. So try not to swim upstream too much this week. And you know, Jody, I'm not sure how many hours of fasting you're into at the moment, but you know, the most incredible thing is that we've been talking about this fasting, and Jody was the one that got me interested in it because she had lost this incredible amount of weight. And it's like she ended at 65 hours. Can you imagine 65 hours of fasting? That is pretty impressive, Jody. And that's your second 65 in a week. Am I correct on that one? Or over 60 anyway. It's almost getting to the point where you can't fit two in a week. That's amazing. And how do you feel, Jody? Do you feel in harmony with your body? Do you feel that doing it is actually doing you good? Do you know, is your body complaining, or is your body I was saying to Jody, one of the things that surprised me is touch wood, I am noticing that my psoriasis is not flaring up. You know, some of you who've watched me a long time, I get psoriasis on my left hand in particular. And for some reason, that's not flaring up at all and hasn't for a while. Actually, since I think it's quietened down since I've been looking after my diet for the diabetes. Jody's saying she's feeling very peaceful. I have more clarity, and my body is liking it so far. Right. Well, I want to tell you, Jody, I would not have thought it possible. Quite honestly, I don't mind telling you. I did it in support. You know that. I did that so that you would know I wanted it. I'm looking 1 hour and 21 minutes. I might actually halt it a little bit sooner than that, because when everybody downstairs is ready to eat, I'm going to be eating mine. And you know, the worst thing, Jody, if you can imagine this, just before I did, about an hour before the broadcast, Yvonne came up and brought me my Sunday Frosty. You know, the whipped ice cream thing that she brings me on a Sunday, and I just said, could you put it in the fridge, please? And you know, because if I knew if I touched it, I'd sip it. You know, and I'm going, I'm not going to touch that until after the broadcast. So I think, again, we don't have to be perfect. You know, Jody, were you going for a 70 that you stopped at 65? That's what I was going to ask you. Because what I realize as well is, yeah, she's done a wonderful job. Hi, Lauren. You know, because what I'm realizing is, let me put it this way, that part of me is going, oh gosh, if I eat, you know, earlier, then I won't have made it all the way to 19 hours. And I'm going, no, Sal, but you will have done 17 hours and 40 minutes already. You know, I think that's pretty good. That's quite a bit in the red zone, as they say. The red zone's good. Why didn't they make it green? Red zone looks bad. So I'm looking forward to my incredible Frosty that's sitting in the fridge. I'm looking forward to that bread that I baked this afternoon that I'm not joking. I started to smell that bread cooking and I'm going, wow, how am I not going to take a piece of that before I do the broadcast? They didn't. I am so proud of myself. So I know that it is possible to do. I really didn't know that it was easier to do than I thought. Lauren, you did 20 hours yesterday or something incredible. What did you do yesterday? Out of choice. You chose to do. By the way, I didn't see the update of, I know that you did 23 hours. Wow. Lauren, that is amazing. Really amazing. Did you take your measurements again? Did I hear that? I think somewhere when I was half asleep yesterday, I saw that you said something. I don't know how I resisted that baking bread either, Jody. And I got it, you know the worst thing, Jody, I got it out of the oven and a piece broke off as I took it out of the pan, you know, a little piece like that big. And I'm going, no, no, you don't get to eat that now. You can chase it down later. So, Lauren, was there any update into, okay. Yeah, I want to tell you, it's very, very interesting that when you, I think though, it is worth saying, and I have to say this for me, is that by doing the fasting, I'm not snacking all the time. And by doing the fasting, when I eat, I'm eating good stuff. You know what I mean? I found it really strange. Last night when I was out to dinner, I had bread and I thoroughly enjoyed it because I went, hey, I've done over a week of fasting. I think I can have bread, right? All right, so Lauren's saying that she wouldn't recommend 23 hours of fasting. Your head was bad in the last hour of the fast and most of the night after you'd eaten. Yes, and I think, that's why I think, Lauren, one of the things that Jody was talking to us about, hi, Nyasha, I'm just about to close. One of the things she said was to do it gradually, all right? Not to go from 0 to 60 in a week. In other words, do the 16 hours, do the 18 hours, do the, and just keep doing those until your body is ready for the next step. Yes, Jody, I have to agree with you that it frees your mind up from what am I going to eat? Yep. Yeah. And so I definitely am looking forward to what results we can get, and hopefully that we will be happy with ourselves, Lauren. I think that is, and Jody, you must be so proud of yourself for what you've done, to have lost that amount of weight in the space of a year. For those of you who don't know, Jody's lost 88 pounds this year. And, she still has a long way to go because she was actually had blown up because of having lymphoderma, which is where the body retains the fluid. And so, to have lost 88 pounds when she couldn't exercise because she's wheelchair bound, that's pretty impressive. But what I was thinking, Jody, was maybe this summer before it's over, that you do get out with the wheelchair and go for a walk with the fluff ball and Lionel. And that you, even if it's halfway down the block and back, that you actually use your own power to go somewhere and see how far you can go now. Because I'm pretty sure that if you start wheeling, as Lauren does, that you will increase what you're doing and build more useful muscle for you that will help you. Because I think with the weight loss that you have had, you you probably are at a level where you can start doing that now. And, you know, the good news is, Jody, you can't do it for too long because the weather's going to get in your way. But it would be wonderful to start it in the fall, you know, in the summer and fall, so that come spring, when you're even healthier, that you will know, okay, I can do that. And it's not about, can you make it round the block? It's, can you make it halfway down the street on your own, right? Can you actually do that? And can you feel the joy and get that fresh air, right? And Lauren, yes, you know, you know, if we're just going into summer, then you're just going into winter. And so the question that I have is, you know, can you get yourself to the mall and just wheel yourself around the mall, maybe during the week when it's not as busy? But, you know, an indoor mall, if you've got one anywhere near you, and just go, you know, the weather might be not too good for going out and going down to the boardwalk, but maybe I can get to the mall and get myself in that mall and spend half an hour just wheeling and doing some window shopping, but actually wheeling around so that I'm using that much more muscle power. What do you think? Is it possible? It probably is, right? So everybody have a wonderful week. I'm 2 minutes over already, and I send you all a big hug. I hope you have enjoyed a few moments of harmony. And look after one another. But as usual, please. There you go. Lauren's saying, I'm doing shopping with a friend tomorrow. So I will wheel around as much as possible. Great idea. And, you know, if you say to your friend, okay, I just need to wheel down here on my own for a moment. All right. I will enjoy the bread, Nada. And Nada, we send you our thoughts and prayers. And later this evening, after I've eaten, I will put some up for the rest of the peeps to join in and help us. This is DearMamaSal saying, thank you so much. Stay in harmony if you can. Be happy. This is DearMamaSal saying, bye-bye for now.